of the On the Mic podcast, and we are just 2 weeks out, or less than 2 weeks out, excuse me, from Bellator 298. And I'm very excited to talk to my next guest. He was part of the 2020 U.S. Olympic Team. He is a NCAA champ. And if you go to Oklahoma State and you wrestle, you're pretty much one of just the baddest dudes walking planet Earth. He is the one and only making his Bellator debut at his professional MMA debut at Bellator 298. The one and only Jordan Oliver. Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I appreciate you making the time. So I know in a previous interview, I'm just going to jump right into it. You had said that you're looking at this, meaning your journey into MMA and becoming a world champion, is more important than Olympic gold. You still feel that way?
I do. It's going through the process now and all these different crafts. I mean, Olympic gold is Olympic gold, but getting a Bellator MMA world champion, being a world champion in the MMA world, now after having 4 months, 5 steady months of training, this would be more of an honor, honestly, right? Than to win a world title than in wrestling.
I think every pure martial artist, mixed martial artist, would absolutely just love that answer, right? Because I can understand the perspective, right? When you read the headline, you're like me, or the quote, you're like me, you're like, damn, wait, Olympic gold, and then MMA gold, like what? You're like, but when you talk about the discipline and the dedication that you have to give as a mixed martial artist compared to when you're on the Olympic wrestling team, you're just wrestling. You're just wrestling.
Okay.
And MMA, you obviously have all the arts. And I'm curious for you, you could take a little bit of both from each side, right? I'm sure MMA can help out in the wrestling world, obviously. And I'm sure wrestling has helped with the transition into MMA. But mentally, what has been the biggest challenges for you to go from one discipline that you're so damn good at, because you obviously are, into a world of, all right, I can't just show up and wrestle today. Got a kickbox today. I got jiu-jitsu on Tuesday. What has been the biggest mental challenges for you through this transition phase?
Excuse me. I think more so it's been a slice of humble pie, right? You're getting in there. Now I live for the wrestling days. Like when the wrestling day comes, I'm like in there right away. I'm like, oh, I'm the lion today, right? But all the other days, it's good, man, because it makes you deal with scenarios that you're going to have to come across and that necessarily right away I'm uncomfortable in, right? So being uncomfortable, I'm wasting energy. I'm giving reactions to reads that I don't need to be. So these are all things in wrestling that necessarily I haven't really focused. I didn't focus on so much. It just came naturally, right? So now getting in the MMA world, not only am I considering, wrestling was one craft. Now going in and I'm thinking about jiu-jitsu. I'm thinking about striking, kickboxing. We have 5 different other crafts that I got to worry about, not also worry about, but I got to become very good in, right? If you're talking about being a world champion in fighting, right, and not wrestling, wrestling's involved in fighting, right? And even some of these guys that I purely wrestle, some of these MMA guys, they are hard to take down. But you understand that some of these guys are like, hey, this wrestler takes me down, I'm in a whole world of trouble, right? So you're fighting some of them to take them down for their life, right? So
yeah, of course.
I think it's, even when I was wrestling, I started winning in wrestling, I was training MMA, which helped me, right? Mentally going from MMA to wrestling, you're like, hold on, this guy can't punch me, can't kick me, can't choke me. So what am I nervous about? Him going to club me, right? Literally, when I made that transfer back over, I started winning at the senior level, right? Taking some of the footwork, but now transferring, into the MMA world, you also got to take things from wrestling, that high intensity pace, that mindset of, wrestling, when you get at the top level, it is the ultimate game of chess, right? Some people will see a 3-2 match and be like, that was horrible. And you see the elite wrestlers and you see a 3-2 match and they're like, dude, that was a crazy match. I cannot believe that, right? So now it's really bringing that chess game and multiplying it with all these different crafts, but also you got to bring that mentality from wrestling where at the end of the day, when there's two elite athletes and they might be just as good, it's almost that mindset of, okay, you're good, but I'm just going to break your will. I'm going to make you want to quit. Right. So I got to have a little bit of that as well, just because, some of these guys, and I'm talking about Kill Cliff.
Right.
I'm here training at one of the best gyms, if not the best gym in the world. And all of my partners and coaches are very high level. So it's not like my coaches are telling me what to do, but my partners are keeping me very, very honest. Right. And not gonna lie, I take some butt whoopings, but it's all right. Right.
I was going to ask you about Kill Cliff here in a moment, but I do want to ask too. So there's always this kind of stigma when, no matter if it's a world-class jiu-jitsu athlete comes over into MMA, or it's a wrestler, or, in another promotion, when Alex Pereira made his, UFC debut, they were like, oh, he's just a kickboxer. For so much of that, there comes the stigma of, oh, well, he's just one dimension. At Bellator 298, Jordan, are you looking to showcase everything, or do you want to do what you know you're best at and just assert your dominance and break them however you see fit?
I think it's both, right? I've been here for 5 months now, training, striking, jiu-jitsu, all of it. So I really want to go out and showcase, my striking, my jiu-jitsu, and just my all around, just being a mixed martial artist. Push comes to shove, things hit the fan, or, we need to secure a win when we're in a war, right? You always go back to what you do best. Even in the wrestling game, when you were in a tough match, you went back to your number one shot. You went back to what you did best and what you score upon, right? And you see it at the top level in MMA and, at the biggest fights. Some of these guys, they don't let guys lure them into their game. They're like, hey, this is where we're going to keep this fight. This is where we're sticking to. This is what I'm good at. And some of the greatest do that, right? Some of the best guys in MMA are able to do that. Look at, we could just say Khabib.
Right.
This guy was only going to do what he was best at and stick to his realm. And then what it do against guys like Conor McGregor? Opened up his striking, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's dropping Conor McGregor, and everybody was like, what the heck? We didn't see that coming. So I want to make sure I'm always, threatening what I'm best at, right? Which is my wrestling, and dominating the wrestling. And what I really want to, I fell in love with striking. I love to strike. I love to get my hands going and my kicks. Sometimes in the room, they're like, listen, you're a wrestler. You're a wrestler. They got to keep telling me. So I'm like, listen, I don't want to wrestle. I want to strike. They're like, just when you need to wrestle. Because I start standing in the pocket sometimes playing, but it's fun, man. So for me, I would like to try to showcase everything that I've been working on, right? For all of this time, all these months. There's obviously a reason I've been working on it. I haven't been working on it just to showcase it in the room, right? So I want to put my strike in, and yes, I'll have my wrestling, but if I can put my jiu-jitsu and my striking to work more than my wrestling, awesome. I'd love to do that.
Well, I can't wait. That means the fans are in for a treat at Bellator 298. Let's talk about timeline here, and I just have a couple more questions for you. I appreciate your time. At 33, obviously, I know you probably want to get the ball rolling. So what is the schedule like for you? What is your timeline like? You're fighting here in August, the beginning of August. Would you like to squeeze one more in? I know it's depending on what happens in the fight, injuries and all of that. But if all things go according to plan, did you want to get one more in and then 3, 4 next year? How would you like to go about it?
Oh, I would like to get him in right away. If I can turn around and fight in a week, dude, I'm going to turn around and fight in a week. Like you said, I want to get the ball rolling, and I'm 33 years old, just getting into the game. But for me, competing, seeing the flaws, feeling the emotions, right? And seeing where we can progress at, and also fix if we need to fix anything. So, if everything works perfect, dude, I'll turn around the next day, next week, and fight again. So I'm trying to be very active, very active in this game and you know, make my way to the top. I didn't come to participate, you know, I came to take over. So for me, I know I need to compete just like wrestling. And then after competition, we come back to the room, back to the drawing board and next opponent.
Well, you got me excited, and all the more reason that I'm making the trip from Chicago to South Dakota to be in attendance, and those who can't can watch it on Showtime and YouTube August 11th. Let me just ask you this, though. One thing I love, and I'm not just saying it because I've worked with them so often, but one thing I love about Bellator is there's a sense of pride in the homegrown talent, right? You didn't fight in 18 promotions and then they grabbed you and signed you when you already established your brand. You,
Right.
in a sense, will grow with Bellator. I know future contracts and all that, but what does it mean to you to get your pro MMA career started with Bellator?
Oh, it's amazing, right? It's almost like getting to come out and you know, without the recruiting process and just wrestle for Oklahoma State, right? Like this historic, prestigious team, right? And we can call Bellator's company team, right? That I get to showcase my skills, and they also are giving me the opportunity to not only showcase my skills, but, you know, give me the opportunity to win a world title and also become the best fighter I can possibly be in the world. Right. So I'm more than excited and more than grateful for the opportunity. I just hope I can live past the hype and give the fans and Bellator much more than what they expected.
Well, this is the first time talking between me and you, and I hope it's not the last because you got me excited, man. I'm so excited for this. And I'm more excited also because I know a few of your teammates down at Kill Cliff, and this will be one of my last ones here for you. What does Kill Cliff FC mean to you? You talked about team, right? You talked about team with Bellator. You've talked about the training room. But to come in with a decorated wrestling background like you have, you know, the one thing I know, especially about the guys that I know down there at Kill Cliff, it's, you know, the egos are left at the door. And nobody's higher than anybody else, and you're just all building together. What has Kill Cliff done for you as you begin this journey?
I think Kill Cliff has not only made me a better fighter, but just a better person in general. I mean, we have a family down here. It's not just a team. We have a family of guys that care and help each other. So in general, I don't even have to ask anybody. I have guys like Gilbert Burns and Usman just coming over and just being like, hey, you can fix this, or think about this here, or think about this, right? And people would pay to get a conversation or a little bit of knowledge from these guys. And I'm just like sitting here and I'm just in such a position that, you know, in this gym, I'm not overseen by our coaches, our great coaches like Greg Jones and Hooft, and you know, you can go down the line, Strout and Nick Lentz and Sean Soriano, but you're around greatness and guys that are in the fire already, right? So for me, it's been inspiring, right? You see some of these guys that are at the top of their game, and necessarily they don't have to go and do more, right? They don't have to show up to every workout, but coming in seeing, hey, look at. He's the champ. He's the champ. He's number 2. They just had a fight 2 days ago, and he's in the room working. He's in the room giving back, right? So, you know, just being here it's given me more than a sense than a team. You know, it's a family, and it gives you more to fight for, right? So being here is, you know, you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for your family and the guys behind you, because these guys, you know, only one person gets to step in that cage. But really, you know, if I'm stepping in the cage, or whoever might be stepping in the cage, we're representing our coaches, our team, and, you know, in this case, our family. These guys would bend over backwards for me, and they don't even know me, right? Some of them they know of me, but they'll do anything to help me. And it's just, it's a great experience, but it's just, it makes you very grateful and, you know, soak in the moments and the opportunities that you have. And when you get to toe the line and put it on the line, you're like, I'm not only fighting for myself, I'm fighting for way more.
Well, I know you said they don't all know you, but the world will know you. Bellator 298 against Andrew Triolo. last one here for you. Short, I'm guessing it'd be a short answer. What should we all expect from you in your debut?
Oh, we want to finish. I don't care when it comes. The quicker, the better, right? If it's quicker, then I'm out of the cage, getting ready for my next bout. But if not, at the end of the day, we want to get a W. But I'm looking to finish. I'm looking to finish the fight. The fans want to see it finish. Bellator wants to see it finish. I want to see it finish. So that's what we're aiming for, right? You always shoot for perfection. And, you know, if you don't reach perfection, you get greatness.
Well, I love that. And I'm ready to run through a wall, and I'm ready to be there in the building. Like I said, August 11th, Bellator 298 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Jordan Oliver, thanks so much. Hope we'll talk on fight week, and can't wait to see you compete on August 11th.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate the time. And I'll see you next week. We'll get together and chop it up, my friends.
Sounds good. Thank you, man.